An NBL Championship, the summit of Australian basketball. Many aspire to basketball's holy grail, but only one team each year tastes success. In 1990, after 9 years of heartache and against all odds, the Perth Wildcats climbed the mountain and claimed the crown of NBL champions. But it wasn't always so. Today's championship winners are a far cry from the humble beginnings of the Perth Wildcats who started out in 1982.
I enjoyed playing in the old days in Perry Lakes, and there's about 3 men and their dog in the stands, and it was really good. And then you get introduced onto the court, and 1 or 2 people might clap.
But the dream really began in 1986 when Perth businessman Bob Williams bought the struggling Wildcats and began to reshape their destiny.
We really had grabbed a tiger by the tail with the Wildcats, and of course at that time basketball was relatively unknown in the city. So those early days were extremely hectic but extremely exciting.
The architect in charge of putting the new Wildcats together was playing coach Cal Bruton. Along with Tiny Pinder and James Crawford, the nucleus of a great side was formed. A side that shouted loud and clear, the Perth Wildcats have arrived.
Is the slammer come good when he's needed?
Success came quickly in 1987. Some would say too quickly. With a new direction, a new home, capacity crowds and television for the first time, the unified Wildcats team had their best season to date and earned a playoff with the Brisbane Bullets. After going down by 1 point in the first game in the best-of-3 series at home, the Wildcats were crushed in the second game at Boondall in front of 13,000 Queenslanders.
Trying to take on Crawford, gets around him and puts in a great shot.
In the end, the Wildcats achieved a major objective. Basketball was alive and kicking in WA. The loss was a stinging reminder to the team that to achieve glory, you must be prepared for the pain of the struggle along the way. The following years of 1988 and 1989 were to bring similar disappointments, with the Wildcats achieving appearances in the finals but failing to go on. So it was 1990, a new year, fresh hope, a chance to atone for past mistakes.
Yeah, we're talking about developing a team to become the team of the 90s, and you have to do that with you.
Even before the season began, there was an air of expectancy, and with the arrival of guards Ricky Amazing Grace and David Radar Close, along with big man Jeff Allen, the critics from around Australia were hailing the Wildcats as the team to beat.
I came to Australia with an open view. The only thing that I knew about Australia was that Andrew Gaze played here, and he's very successful in America, and just as successful as he is here.
At last, all seemed to be in place, with a new home, the Perth Entertainment Centre boasting seating for over 8,000 supporters, and a new co-owner, Kerry Stokes, adding his enthusiasm and business acumen to that of Bob Williams and his team. The Wildcats were finally ready to carve their names in history. The season was only 2 games old when the Perth team nosedived into controversy.
Kicking off to Crawford. There's a collision away from the ball, but Crawford buries the 2 points.
For the opening match, the Wildcats travelled to Victoria to take on the Geelong Supercats, last year's wooden spooners.
Perth really should control it from here.
A lacklustre Perth turned on a desperate final quarter to edge out Geelong 100 to 96. In Game 2, worse was to come as the Wildcats faced up to a rejuvenated Westside Saints.
Weaves his way by Ellis. Left-hand looper. Can't find it. Gets it back and puts it in with his right hand. If one hand don't get you, the other one will. Westside relatively untroubled getting there. Lewis fishing DeVos. Good play. Graves. This time taking
The Cats looked anything but championship material as the Saints tore through the Perth defence to inflict a 19-point humiliation. Action had to be taken and taken quickly if the team was to be in contention at finals time. After lengthy meetings, the owners decided that the coaching staff should be replaced. It was a move amid the innuendo and accusations that threatened to split the team wide open, blowing away all the early season hype and destroying their chances once again of an NBL title. In spite of all the controversy, which was to hang over the team like a dark cloud in the weeks ahead, the players and the team as a whole got behind their new coach and refocused their attention on the title, while adjusting to their new roles and raising the intensity. The Wildcats had 3 good wins against pre-season champions Illawarra, Gold Coast and Ken Cole's Young Falcons, giving them a 4-win, 1-loss record. Good enough for 5th place, which will have significance in the season ahead. The following week, the Canberra Cannons, last year's finalists, desperate for a win after a sluggish start to their season, head to Perth for the first game of the Doomsday Double. And after taking the Wildcats into extra time, eventually inflicted the first loss of the season at home.
Kennedy throws it in, and we have a tight ball game. Ellis has 2 fouls for the night. Race getting in on Kennedy, goes over the top, thinks 2, strong work. Dufelmeyer calls the rotation up forward. The Cannons are set, and then he goes for the 3-point shot himself and makes it. It's a secret play.
Tad Dufelmeyer had one of those games most players dream about, finishing with a career-high 38 points.
Now goes through the pack, throws the fake, again the fake. Dufelmeyer, 3-point territory, never ever looked like missing. Kennedy, who made a few of those 3-pointers in the first and second quarters. Dufelmeyer, who's had a couple of his own, goes for another. Oh, that is hot. I don't go that far on holiday.
As the season continues, the Wildcats' fortunes take on a roller coaster appearance with an uninspiring win over the Hobart Devils, followed by an Andrew Gaze 20-point first quarter that blitzes Perth and sees the Melbourne Tigers up for a 26-point win, the Wildcats' worst defeat of the season.
He loses it, comes to Simmons, quick slide ball across to Gaze, Gaze from a long way out, and makes 3. Gaze makes it again.
form. Grace, great speed, goes by Gordon, stops, props off the glass. Very athletic move. Gaze with an 18-footer, swish.
The Wildcats were never in the game, and to complicate matters further, an out-of-form James Crawford sprains his ankle and finishes with a career-low 2 points, further weakening the side.
A deal of pain on the ground. He's got a bad ankle. Had some minor surgery on it. Let's see if we can see it. Crawford in your screen there. Lands very funny.
Coming off a great win against a tough Adelaide 36ers outfit, the Geelong Supercats saw an opportunity to be the first team to win the dreaded Doomsday Double. Mike Ellis, in superb form, led the way in true captain style, boosting the team record to 6 wins and 3 losses. The Wildcats faced up to their biggest challenge so far, last year's title holders, the North Melbourne Giants.
That's the team that stopped us 2 years in a row, and they were tough.
The league leaders were in a defiant mood after being beaten soundly in Adelaide the night before. The Giants put on a clinic in the first half to lead by 15 points.
Leader thought about the shot, pinned her on the floor. Clark gets it off the glass.
In the second half, a different Wildcat team took to the court, sparked by Ricky Grace, who took the tempo right up to the champions, cutting their lead back to 3 points.
The tactics, I mean, basketball is a game where the coaches have an enormous influence. Got up sensationally. Really claimed that ball. Palmer's not happy, claiming a goal 10. And finger roll.
After a couple of untimely turnovers, missed scoring opportunities, and Ricky Grace's departure due to fouls, the Wildcats succumbed to the more disciplined Giants, losing by 16 points.
In Adelaide,
to just go out and prove myself every night, day in, day out.
With nearly half the season over, the Wildcats sit in an uncomfortable 6th position, and the knowledge that they must journey to the East Coast for their own doomsday double against the Bullets and the Spectres.
Sibley, who was sidelined with a virus last week. Duncan Johnson's pass not going the target intended. Came off Trevor Torrance's head.
The new-look Bullets, featuring first-year sensations Derek Rucker and Andre Moore, Leroy Loggins and Australian representative Robert Sibley were looking confident as they outgunned the Cats for the first 3 quarters.
Leroy, Rucker gets the ball, and Loggins.
Leroy and Robert were on a mission, took the game out of the hands of the Perth team, and in so doing ejected them out of the top 6. The Cats now had the daunting task of facing up to the 3rd-placed Eastside Melbourne Spectres the next night. After a soul-searching flight from Brisbane to Melbourne, which led to a direct route from Tullamarine to the Glasshouse for a light workout and a free-throw shooting exercise, the players realised a new attitude was necessary. The Wildcats responded as the Spectres felt the full force of Perth's newfound spirit.
Pinder, top of the key, bounce pass Ellis, trying to go baseline, denied by Perry. 10 seconds on the shot clock and they turn it over. They give it right back though. Cortland goes in. 5 seconds.
Point guard Ricky Grace was at his devastating best, scoring 25 points and making 11 assists. The warning signs were flashing that the Wildcats are back as James Crawford and Tiny Pinder began to unleash their awesome power around the basket, as we've become accustomed to seeing over the years.
Watterson finds Crawford. Clear out the low post area. Drives the basket, rebounds his own shot, gets it to go off the glass. Back come the Wildcats, 3-on-2. Pinder doesn't need any help, he makes the basket.
The Wildcats played their first complete game in the decade, but were still outside the 6 on the ladder.
I think it just took a while for the team to gel, for the guys to really understand each other on and off the court. And once we did that, we just took off.
The roller coaster ride season continues for the Cats as they journey east once again, this time to confront the bad boys, the 8th-placed Sydney Kings at their new home, the Sydney Entertainment Centre, in front of 10,000 Sydney-siders.
Didn't really look like it, even Brad Dalton does well. This will be close. Vino drops it for 3. Get out. Grace for 3. Great shot. The other options had shut down, so he just fired up.
It was to be a tough, bruising encounter with Sydney star Steve Caffino going down with a knee injury early in the 2nd quarter.
Some pain at the other end of the court. Drama here at the Entertainment Centre as the Wildcats try and score at the other end.
It was a game where physique counted more than finesse, and only the strong would survive.
Brad Dalton sitting on 3 fouls. Another turnover by the Wildcats. Rebound by Pinder for Grace to Close. Charging foul by Close.
Because won't Perth be keen to avenge this defeat because it is a blowout.
The 16-point defeat was to be the Wildcats' low point of the season. And to add insult to injury, coach Cal Bruton was ejected from the stadium in the dying minutes of the game, receiving 2 technical foul calls from referee Roger Shields in an uncharacteristic display.
And Cal Bruton is out of the game.
The Wildcats were in a crisis, and frustration was oozing out in all quarters of the camp. Control needed to be implemented fast. In a bid to get to the bottom of the team's problems, owners Bob Williams and Kerry Stokes called a 1 a.m. conference with the players and team psychologist Neil McLean. Cal Bruton was then summoned to a 3 a.m. meeting. It was time to put all the cards on the table. The moment of truth. The Cats were now in 8th place on the ladder and a long way from an NBL title. As a result of the meeting in Sydney, a new commitment and strategy was put in place. The team joining together as one for a united attack on the title.
Steal is from Ellis. Grace, Pinder to his left. No one pass, finds Pinder, banks it off the glass. Crawford, low post. Double team, gets up over the top of both of them and does well for 2.
Adelaide was the first to feel the heat.
Draper on Crawford. Good ball movement by the Wildcats. Finally enables Grace to cut an alley through there.
Trailing in the fourth quarter, the Wildcats held Adelaide scoreless in the last 4 minutes, whilst helping themselves to 16 points in a sensation come-from-behind victory.
3 on 3. There's that change of pace. Oh, Tony Pender plays the trailer to perfection.
A week later, the Sydney Kings crumbled under the Perth press and were never in it.
And was gone.
The Wildcats reversed the result by 16 points to make it a 32-point turnaround in less than a fortnight.
Crawford the trailer, banks it in off the glass. On to break opportunity now. Look away pass from Grace. Ellis takes it in and hits the basket. Grace has it. They can still turn it into a 3-point play, or even maybe a 4-point play. Grace has it knocked away. It's with Watterson now. Shot clock is down to 10.
There's Grace
under the basket. 97-83. Steve Davis. 8:22 remaining in this final period. Close for 3. Go to Ellis. Close for 2 this time.
Looking for the quick transition.
The Hobart Tassie Devils faced up to a rampant Wildcats team led by Tiny Pinder's 25-point effort to be thrashed by some 30 points. The Wildcats were developing into a smooth-running team.
Quick hands from Grace. Close, let's go for 3. Rims out. Crawford steps inside, banks it off the glass, trails his own shot, puts a bit in. Nice, neat move there by Crawford. Positions on the ladder would suggest the Wildcats should move away. Hobart not prepared to let them at the moment. Ellis baseline. The Wildcats waiting for the best option shot. That's it. Indeed. Ellis and Grace. In fact, the starting 5's back on. Second chance comes to Crawford.
Support surrounded by
The West Side Saints never had a chance in their return bout with the Wildcats as the home team's swarming defence and run-and-stun offence ran the opposition ragged, eventually winning by 34 points.
And makes it off the glass.
A remarkable 53-point turnaround from the second-round loss.
Close. Joyce was looking for a goal, Tim, but it was on the way up.
Watterson to Torrance to Ellis. Oh, great move. Big chance for the Wildcats to stretch their lead. Here's Pinder, takes it all the way and improvises. And it's 50-36. Close to Grace. Close from the top of the key for 3. Interception by Grace. They force the turnover. Pinder goes off the glass. The last piece of action, the Wildcats. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Well, the game clock more particularly. And Pinder gets 2.
With Jeff Allen already sidelined, the Wildcats were about to shift gears when adversity struck again. Steve Davis broke his wrist in a freakish fall after playing the best basketball of his career. This put a dampener on the revitalised Wildcats as they now faced the determined to get even Eastside Melbourne Spectres.
Bolden thought he may have drawn the foul, but he didn't. It's a great defensive ball there for the Wildcats. The Wildcats breathe again then. Some desperation stuff here. Same play. Found Crawford again.
It was a sensational match with no quarter being given by either side.
Some useful things. Not that time. Pinder kept it alive. Pinder's putting some body on Bolden, and Pinder's alive under the basket.
This game did more for the spirit of the whole team than anyone could ever imagine. The Wildcats began to believe in themselves.
Hopefully get a foul on a shot. Oh, great move from Grace. Grace posted up. There's pressure here.
The Wildcats won in a photo finish in one of the most exciting games of the year, with Amazing Grace setting the pace.
I just want to be the best I can be, and I just love the game, and I want to be the best that I can be, hopefully to be known as the best guard here in Australia.
1 week later, the rejuvenated Wildcats achieved a major goal when they thrashed an inept Melbourne Tigers side, which was minus Andrew Gaze.
Drops it in for 2 more. So the first 2 points for Melbourne come from Dave Colbert. As we said in the introduction tonight, Colbert and Simmons will have a lot of work to do. Crawford makes 2. Pinder is free. close. He's done well from three-point range this season. Pender goes up, draws the foul. Makes two and the bonus.
That win put the Wildcats in 4th place on the NBL ladder with a 13-win, 6-loss record.
Is on his left. That's where it goes. Dish out from Ellis. Tony goes up over the top and makes two more. Then the baseline, puts it up. He likes that range.
Cal makes a lot of substitutions to keep the guys fresh.
Crawford is back on with immediate effect. Thrown forward for Whitehead, who's just come on. Grace with a defensive effort was sensational.
As the business end of the season approached, the Wildcats, a more mature team, looked to be back on track in their quest for glory. After nearly a month's break from regular games due to All-Star matches and the World Championship break, the Wildcats hit the road once more as they set themselves for a no-hold-barred encounter with league leaders, the North Melbourne Giants.
Dishing Crawford with a big slam right over the top of leader.
From the opening tip, the message was loud and clear that there was no room on the court for the faint-hearted.
Crawford goes to the hoop aggressively again, so James Crawford has started very well.
Shoulder.
When point guard Joe Hillman left the court due to a calf injury, Ricky Grace, Mike Ellis and Eric Watterson ignited and controlled the tempo of the game in an outstanding backcourt display.
Time to get a shot. They want to get it up. It's quick, give him a chance to rebound. Ellis gets his own missed shot. Dishes to Pinder. Good play as the corner in.
Not wanting to be left out, James Crawford and Tiny Pinder dominated the keyways to continually frustrate the Giants.
Through the ring to get that. Bruce Palmer complaining of basket interference as he got his fingers tangled in the net, but Reedy couldn't see nothing but Crawford's shirt that time.
For David Close, it was a night of nights as he put on a shooting exhibition from behind the three-point line, connecting on 6 of 7 attempts and scored a career-high 25 points.
Well, Cal's given me the green light. He thinks that I'm a good enough shooter that he just leaves it up to me when I can shoot the ball. So basically, when I'm open, I'm going to shoot it if I feel good about the shot.
After 7 straight wins and the Cats looking to jump into 3rd spot on the ladder, they were suddenly brought down to earth as they found themselves outgunned by the Canberra Cannons for the 2nd time this season.
Line grabs 2 more for the Perth Wildcats. Charlie Thomas probably a bit fortunate there, banging on the rebound. They didn't get caught for his 3rd foul. The crowd would have gone berserk had that have gone down. Well, they can go berserk now as the dunk goes down from James Crawford.
It was Herb McEachin's 300th NBL game, and the Snake put on an inspirational performance with his teammates, pipping the Wildcats by 1 point.
And they've come in a minute and 40 seconds for the Perth Wildcats, so they could be in some team foul trouble early in this final quarter. The double pump there from Herb McEachin. What a shot!
The Wildcats had a chance to win in the dying seconds, but the ball just wouldn't go in.
But it's Mike Ellis with a rebound, and can't make it, and fell off the front of the rim. John Stelter with a rebound. And that'll be a foul that comes from Mike Ellis. And the time is gone off the clock. There is absolutely no time left on the clock. That's the end of the ball game. They don't have to shoot the ball, and the Cannons have won yet another close one over the Perth Wildcats.
Looking to consolidate in the top 4, the team travelled to Adelaide for a 1-game showdown. Adelaide, who had just come off a double-loss road trip, weren't in a charitable mood and had something to prove to the home crowd.
So they do that easily.
The 36ers beat the Wildcats by 13 points. It would take 16 wins to make the finals, and the Wildcats were sitting on 14 as they pondered their future with a dangerous road trip to the steel towns Illawarra and Newcastle.
The first 4 points of the ball game. Tiny Pinder wanted in the post-up down low, but James Crawford, he's going to take it to the hoop every time. And he scored on that one. He's going to go to the free throw line as well. He was fouled on the way to the basket.
With a tough win over Illawarra by 7 points and a 1-point loss to Newcastle in the dying seconds the following night, the Wildcats' 2 remaining games, both at home, took on the air of finals matches. With Sydney and Canberra breathing down their necks, the Wildcats couldn't afford to lose.
Grace tries for 3 and makes it.
The game against the Gold Coast was Ricky Grace's turn once again to captivate the fans.
Makes 3 more.
Ricky was simply amazing, chipping in 30 points at an impressive 80% and 2 crowd-pleasing dunks.
Two great left-handed jams by Grace, and he's up.
The Wildcats are one win away from their fourth consecutive playoff berth. Now it was the Bullets' turn to journey west, and they would like nothing better than to eliminate the Wildcats from the playoff picture.
Goes by Fox, Pinder on the buzzer.
Great offensive rebound.
Close in the corner. Now Mike Ellis. A three, they call a three.
And a bonus.
Crawford. Rejected there by Moore. Crawford sucks it.
Got it back and threw it down.
The Wildcats put on their bulletproof vest and raced out to a 13-0 lead and never looked back to pick up a convincing 23-point win, leaving no doubt in anyone's mind the Wildcats were a team to be reckoned with in the finals. So it was. The controversy, the heartaches, the injuries, the sickness, the moments of triumph. Now at the end of the regular season, the Cats stood ready to challenge once again for basketball's ultimate prize, the NBL Championship. The elimination final and the Wildcats' first test. At full strength, the Melbourne Tigers loomed as a real threat. But with their top gun Andrew Gaze silenced by a blood clot in his arm, they were like a ship without a rudder. A factor the Wildcats would use to their full advantage. The Cats were ready, committed, and had the desire to achieve their goal. Nothing was going to stand in their way.
Clear it out for him. He finds Pinder under the basket. Colvin for three. Hits.
Good range.
Little pick and roll. Pinder.
The Wildcats were playing pressure basketball, shredding the Melbourne defense to pieces.
The three, Grace. Mike Ellis in trouble. Got it to Pinder superbly. Doesn't go. Rebounded Torrance. Back come the Wildcats. Grace takes them on. Looking for support. Draws the double team. Ellis is open. And hits the three. Pinder. Nice work. Ellis didn't get the roll. Getting the strong rebound. In traffic. Stripped of the ball. Goes again. Over the top, Crawford. It comes to Simmons mid-court. Simmons takes it all the way. Now he dishes it out to Colbert. Another three. Not that time. Simmons. The big man missed it. It comes to Grace. He was fighting out of his division, but he came away with the ball. Grace takes on Gordon. Kicks it out. Crawford takes it to the hoop.
The Cats' intensity was high as coach Cal Bruton rotated his bench extensively to maintain the pressure.
Low post. Colbert working well. Got Crawford off his feet. Yes, he gets the continuation.
The Tigers' Dave Colbert put in a career-best 52 points, but it wasn't enough.
Jeff Allen has since come into the field for the Wildcats as Colbert takes another one. This time banks it from the glass.
There's Mike Ellis. Pinder for three.
Oh, that's a long way away from the basket for Tiny Pinder.
Well played by Mike Ellis to keep it alive, but he turned it over. Allen got a hand in there. Well done by Grace. Well, that was quick action. Crawford got it back to Grace, who goes baseline and makes the two. Shot clock inside 10 now. On 7, Pinder puts the shot up, gets the two.
There's the determination of the man. Went around Colbert and took that shot.
Pinder, low post. Grace for three. Great start by the Wildcats. And again, Crawford with a double team. Torrance with some space. Davis was left open and goes all the way to the basket. Rebounded by Davis. Grace goes all the way with that left hand again. A battle under the boards, close.
Another strong and critical move by Steve Davis.
Watterson goes to Torrance. Was fouled under the basket and the 2 points count.
I felt a lot more confident. I felt that our team was more together with a point guard, a legitimate point guard in Ricky and a legitimate big man in Jeff, and that made me feel a little bit more comfortable about where I was going to play.
This was a total team effort as the Cats played above themselves to deny the Tigers any chance of getting into the game.
Oh, the steal by Close. He'll take it all the way.
Finishing the game 122 to 100, the Wildcats go one up as they headed for the Glass House in Melbourne.
I take my job pretty seriously. I know that I'm one of the backbones of this team, and I know if I'm not performing at that particular night, then the whole team is not clicking the way it should click. But I try to prepare myself for every game that we play.
Melbourne were fired up, but were still without star Andrew Gaze as they faced up to the full fury of the Wildcats.
Colbert inside.
Melbourne led at every change, once again inspired by Dave Colbert, who contributed 42 points to be the match's leading scorer.
Things like that happen. You see how they can miss Andrew Gaze. Colbert, really hard work underneath.
Coach Cal Bruton called for a greater intensity from his players to fight off the Melbourne challenge.
Now get a three. Okay, let's get a three this time down. Let's be sharp now. We gotta get out of this. Gotta get out of this. Come on now. Defensive intensity. Our defensive intensity. We gotta lift, all right? No easy basketball. Come on.
Grace for 3 points. Off to Ellis. Oh, great play. Slam by the Alabama Slammer, James Crawford.
But close with a three. He nails it. He's picked up where he left off Wednesday night in Perth.
He's the first Wildcat to score outside of Pinder and Crawford.
Perth slipping back into his own defense now, guarding positions on the floor rather than specific men challenging the Tigers to hurt him from the outside.
David Close was having a night out as he found his range early and kept the Wildcats constantly in touch.
The danger man Crawford out. Inside Grace can't handle the ball. Still yet to get on the scoreboard. Ahead to Simmons. Off balance, but he still puts it in.
Grace to Allen. Back to Close, who doesn't like being close. He likes being that far out and gets another three. Simmons to Colbert with plenty of space.
Crawford did a great job that time. He stayed on the ground. Colbert anticipated the jump. Pinder inside. Crawford taps him back in. I should say shoves it back in.
Well, Allen had a chance to take that off, but 16 turnovers to 7. Remarkable. Not clear that time.
Another pass to Purchase. Gee, he works that backdoor pass well. Ellis on the perimeter. Crawford double team spins away. Lovely shot. Tigers forcing the pace. White shirt's a little bit slow to get back. Picked beautifully by Ellis. Straight to the hoop. Dishes the Close. Lovely play by Ellis. Melbourne looking very uncomfortable at the other end. Oh, that goes in! A Hail Mary!
But the Tigers weren't going to give in easily. For them, there were no tomorrows.
Before the buzzer, everybody was going to sleep thinking that the quarter was over. Ellis with the three, yes.
Davis to Ellis. Watterson, back he goes, and Torrance slapped.
Oh, the ball working very well for Perth at the moment. A three-pointer by Ellis. Ellis.
Mike Ellis was playing a true captain's role as he continually carried the ball forward for scoring opportunities.
Ellis in the open. Oh, lovely feed, Ellis. Throws the defense. Gave Pinder the eyeball one way. Look at this. Lifted Pinder and threw it the other way.
The Cats had done it, securing a semi-final berth, winning 123 to 113 and blowing the Tigers out of the race in 2 straight games. Now, before a capacity crowd at the Entertainment Centre, it was the Giants' turn to take on the might of the Wildcats.
Doesn't go. Pinder, strong rebound. Ellis to Torrance. Ellis takes it at the defence, then kicks it out to Grace for 3. Graham for 3. The action is furious. Warner.
The longer the game continued, the more Grace and Ellis dominated to be the weapons in the Wildcats' armory that the Giants were unable to stop.
Makes the basket. Tiny Pinder to Mike Ellis. 17-18. Wildcats trail. Grace double team. Looking for the open man. Good defensive rotation by the Giants, but now Grace is open for three and hits. Turnover, North Melbourne in trouble. Fast break by Grace, the trailer is Allen.
Great follow from the big guy.
Hillman comes away quickly, lacking support. Joe Hillman has to hold up. No, tries to go baseline, about 3 pump fakes. Nothing doing. Back to Fisher. Bounce pass outside, Carroll for 3. Doesn't go. Strongly in there was Allen. Gets the rebound. The outlet pass to Ellis. Ellis comes away, slapped away by a leader. Standing his ground in front was Hillman. 3-on-2 break now for the North Melbourne
But the Giants weren't about to give in easily.
As a result, the Wildcats get back. Fast and furious action at the Perth Entertainment Centre. Leader puts it up for 3, and this time he hits. Tries to go baseline, then the pass inside corner. Had the jam, but didn't have the ball.
The statement started. That's the way it's done, says Crawford. Biding his time.
The electrifying Texan had the ball on a string for a season-high 36 points.
Baseline, he does. Crawford jinks, makes the move, finds Grace to give it back.
Tony Pinder. They clear out the low post. He drives and scores.
Such is the intensity in this game. Everybody's involved with that. Ricky Grace has lit it up again.
Ricky Grace kicks it out to Mike Ellis, who gathers it like a wicketkeeper. Watterson goes baseline. Good defense there to close him down for 3. Grace. It's all over. The Wildcats win by 10, 121 to 111.
We owed them so much after the last couple of years, and to win in those circumstances, I think in some ways it was more exciting than winning the grand final.
As the Cats headed for Melbourne for Game 2, the question was, could the Wildcats tame the Giants and go on for a grand final appearance?
Clark to ground, Grace, very well done. He's a great athlete, we know that. Ellis with a strong drive against Warner initially, misses that time. Crawford tries to take the rebound, corner. Hillman on a breakaway, can go all the way against Grace, and does, but misses. But in comes leader for the 2.
The Giants were a more committed side. They were the aggressors throughout and made the Wildcats chase them all night.
Now leader, bit messy, but they got away with it. Leader all the way and makes it.
Carroll's dogging the dangerous perimeter shooter. Darrell came close at the moment. Crawford now. Pinder, fade away. Another one, finding nothing but net.
That was never going in. Pinder and Crawford have both been pretty good defensively on the rebound. Now Grace, with real pace, sets it to Crawford, who will slam up that home. And he makes that look easy, 19-17.
The Cats fought hard and were only 2 points down at half-time.
Now Crawford, magnificent. That was thrilling. Absolutely brilliant.
Unbelievable dunk from James Crawford that time. All sorts of opposition. Quickness gets him by Fisher. Look at this. Spotted the basket over leader. Powered it down.
So just 2 points. Grace, terrific pace, acceleration. The 1-2 with Ellis. Well, good play, Fisher. Warner made some space. Thought he might have taken the shot first time. Hillman for 2 points. Or 3. Make that 3. So this here for Warner and North Melbourne against Crawford. Oh no, is it against Clark here?
Foul called on Clark. Referee crowd said you're grabbing onto him. North Melbourne has really made it hard for themselves, Bruce. Their shooting from the foul line has been very poor. Charging foul called on Pinder, and that's his 5th. So in their private battle between Pinder and Leader, Leader takes the garland.
It was a decisive victory for the Giants to win 131 to 110 in a contest that resembled physical warfare with a staggering 62 fouls. Such was the magnitude of the win, no one gave the Wildcats a chance in the decider. This was a game full of emotion. The battle cry had been sounded, and no prisoners would be taken.
Big 6'10" corner. Can he take a mention the other? Yes, he does brilliantly. Carroll against 2 comes out with the ball. Hillman to the basket. Contact. Points count, and the foul's called on Mike Ellis, and Hillman has hit the ground very hard. Ellis still probing. Got into the forest though.
This was not a battle of skills, but one of wills, and who wanted it more.
Ricky, great.
Grace with some pace, makes some space, close for the three-pointer. Oh, what a shot that was.
Love
They
passing.
emulated the Giants' toughness and matched them basket for basket.
Corner Perth with a chance to work on their one-point lead. Pinder from Grace, and Perth leads by 3.
10 seconds remaining, and 10 seconds remaining for Perth. Pinder tries 3 and just puts it in.
Skinderis now back the other way. North Melbourne forcing the pace. Fisher with the 3.
The Wildcats had worked too hard to let it all go.
Backdoor move to Ellis. Tremendous pass from Tiny Pinder. 6 minutes and 45 seconds remaining to play. 1 point the difference. Grace Pinder from the foul line. So he tucked it in. Inside to Grace. Returns on his left hand. Pushes it too hard. Gets the ball back on his left hand. That's short. Pinder battling it out. Gold shirts will come out with the ball. White shirts, gold shirts. What enthusiasm. Grace misses the 3. Davis inside and is fouled. Unbelievable series of play. So Perth has a chance.
Fittingly, it was captain Mike Ellis who led the team to victory, weaving his way through a thicket of bodies to lay up a ball with 11 seconds of regulation time remaining to tie the scores at 102 apiece.
Danger man needs some penetration. Fisher with a long 3. It misses. Pinder inside. No fouls. We're going to have an overtime. Well, that's Crawford with it here. Close at the top. Spins away from Martin Clark. Nearly a loose pass. Fisher on Crawford. Crawford dishes
Ellis,
to Ellis.
Crawford and Pinder combined to give the Wildcats a slender lead. A desperate Giants fought on, but this time the Cats were not to be denied.
Fisher at the top. Crawford creeps out after him. David Hillman, 2-pointer, but ties up the game.
1-1-0 apiece. Remembering it's a place in the grand final for the winner. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Torrance for 2. A bonus there.
The Cats led by 2 as the Giants' Hillman has one last try.
Hillman fade away, doesn't go. Pinder taps it out. Carroll gets it back, loses it. Ellis can't quite stay down. Who's it off of? Comes off Pinder with 3.5 seconds remaining to play. Pinder pleads with Eddie Krauts. Give it back to us, Eddie. So this first shot in. Here it is. 2 seconds. David Graham forces one. That'll be it. Perth will go to the grand final. There's a foul called on Ray Warner. David Graham changed his mind in mid-flight. And the Perth Wildcats have qualified for the 1990 NBL Grand Final, and they'll meet the Brisbane Bullets in Game 1 in Perth.
The victors returned to their lair, the Perth Entertainment Centre, and before 8,000 screaming, adoring fans prepared for their final assault in their quest for basketball's holy grail. The Cats were focused and ready.
Wildcats defend successfully. Ellis countered by Fox. Pinder taken on by Sibley, double teamed with the help of Fox, which left Ellis free. Grace for 3. There's never in doubt. Crawford was the taller of the two. The Wildcats get a fresh shot clock.
A good example of the size mismatch. Bit of an advantage here for the Perth Wildcats. The bigger side up front. The Bullets are going to have their work cut out on the boards. As I said in the keys to victory, Brisbane have to try and get the boards, and James Crawford is hot at the moment.
Sobering thoughts from Peter Mears. James Crawford is, well, he may be sober, but he's drunk on emotion. One gets the impression.
The players knew the final would be a grueling battle of attrition.
Nice Loggins, the settling influence. Here's Rucker's first shot. Banked it off the glass for 2.
Crawford clawing for the ball left.
In a show of class, the Wildcats stormed to a 12-point lead at quarter time.
Perfect timing.
Andre Moore's shooting percentage well below his normal at the moment. Here's a pass. Herbert Torrance.
Rebound close. That's how he earned his reputation. They look as if
Brisbane, through Sibley and Rucker, clawed their way back.
now they're trying to consolidate and get some half-court activity. Well, we said earlier in this game it takes a little while to get used to the crowd. That can phase a lot of people. Sibley put it up for 2, and it went. Ellis got the hand in on Rucker. The body protected the ball. Oh, clever pass from Rucker to find Sibley. Baseline, 2 off the glass.
A long shot by Pinder doesn't go, and of all people, it's Fox who pulls down the rebound. Long pass from Rucker to Sibley. Great teamwork between those two.
But once again, it was the wizardry of Ricky Grace and James Crawford that showed the way for the Wildcats.
Doing his stuff on Rucker. It doesn't go, but he gets another opportunity.
It's very hard for the coaching staff to really pull that adrenaline down and make them work in the game that he knows will be successful.
Grace goes coast to coast,
hoping for that type of steal.
That's just it. Grace, no-look pass, finds Tiny Pinder, no mistake for 2. The Wildcats go to a 3-point lead, 50 plays.
At the long break, both teams had 52 points on the board.
To it, Loggins. Pinder got it back. Well, now that was pretty ordinary.
The Wildcats opened the third quarter desperate to retain the initiative.
Ball was right behind him. That sensational D from Ricky Grace. Grace playing superbly, dishes off to Ellis, who makes 3 points. Tiny Pinder using the body on him. Good defense from Pinder. Here's 2. Oh, yes he does.
2 fine recruits to the NBL this year.
A few years ago they wouldn't have recruited guards, but now they're all the rage. And here's one doing his stuff. Mike Ellis. Rucker dribbling desperately, double team.
But the Bullets were equally determined to do well.
Just as soon gone back to the Bullets, a 3-on-2, in fact a 4-on-2, but Rucker decides to shoot for 3 and makes it. Good outlet from Fox to Rucker, and he'll lay this one in. A charge. 16 on the shot clock, 21 on the game clock, so that 5-second differential. Clever pass, jammed by Pinder.
At the start of the final quarter, Tiny Pinder sets out to put his mark on the game.
Pinder gets his own rebound and puts the shot in. He's the man who's determined to take this game by the scruff of the neck.
Well, there goes Reese and Pinder again. They need to go inside to Andre Moore. That's where his strength lies.
Tiny Pinder playing it like a guard and makes 2. Steal by the Bullets. Sibley to Rucker. Rucker has it swatted away by Ellis. Great defense, but Rucker gets it back again. It goes to Close. Close will go all the way under a lot of defense. And that was a vital 2 points. The entertainment centre's going berserk.
By gee, they put Derek Rucker under an enormous amount of pressure tonight. Every time he turns around, it's Mike Ellis or Ricky Grace snapping at him, and there's an absolute example of that as Grace picks up the pass from Ellis and puts the 2 on the floor.
Ellis, Rucker has gone down in the paint. Turley's calling for a foul. Through goes Grace. Pinder banks it off the glass and makes 2.
They had taken everything the Bullets could throw at them. The Cats were enjoying the challenge as they stormed to a 112-106 result in their final home game for the season.
It was a great game, and all the credit to Brisbane. You know, they hung in there right to the end, and our guys came through when we needed it most. So we're looking forward to the next one, and you know, it's going to be a big one.
As the Wildcats announced their arrival in the Brisbane Stadium for Game 2, the atmosphere was electric. They had entered the Bullets battleground. A capacity crowd of 13,200 screamed for Wildcat blood.
John, do you think the Bullets are trying to suck Perth into a few easy fouls? They've already got 3 personal ones up and they're only 2.
Rucker makes the move down the court, and there's going to be a charge in there, I think.
After the Wildcats' sensational first-ever grand final win, the Bullets were determined for a decider.
That's the give and go.
Rucker works his charges forward again, goes inside Elvis, pulls up short of Pinder, makes a very big 2 points. Loggins, Sibley, Crawford on him. Fox again, has made the cut. Grace, close hands. Fox allowed a little room baseline. Found Sibley. Excellent vision from Fox and a great move from Robert Sibley to make the 2. Perth have gone just slightly smaller again, substituting David Close for Trevor Torrance. So Radar close.
How is he?
The ball now.
How is he under pressure, the young fellow?
Well, got under pressure this afternoon in the training run. He shot 38 out of 53 pointers. Rucker tries his own three-pointer. Well, that's as close as they come. Simply is there to finish it.
2 points. Rucker has started well, 22 to 14 for the Bullets. 3 minutes 20 to go till quarter time. James Crawford, who's been hot with his shooting touch, does it again off the glass.
Great interception from Watterson. Managed to direct it to Pinder. The long pass was probably a low option shot. Sibley managed not to step out of bounds. 2-on-1. Moore will jam it and go.
What a jam from the A-Train. We saw one in Perth last week and we're watching it again.
Curl's hard-working Bullets take a 14-point lead at half-time.
That's 3 points. What a start for the second quarter to Derek Rucker. Duncan Johnson's copped an elbow in the nose and he's bleeding quite profusely from the nose.
He still has the job on Ellis, who gets it out to David. Radar close. And he makes 3. Torrance out-jumped by Sibley. Close got the hand in there. 2-on-1 again. Rucker will pull up and shoot from just inside 3. Gets his own rebound, which is important. Grace still hassling him, but the Bullets have time to compose themselves and start it all over again. Leroy over the top of Crawford. Andre Moore goes up from close range, backs it off the glass from 2.
Brisbane continue the pressure in the third quarter with some great work from Rucker and Moore.
Not blocking out on
Rucker then as he brings it forward. Grace comes out to do the job defensively. The alley-oop pass is sensational.
Well, that's a real assist there. Beautifully timed assist to Andre Moore.
Simply playing a very good game at the moment. 10 points, 5 boards. Doing a lot of little things that don't get on the stat sheet, as Tiny Pinder has done.
Wildcats again. Crawford jams it. A handoff came from Grace.
Rucker pulls up for a jumper, it's short. Pinder gets the rebound, kicks it out to Grace on the fast break. He's confronted by Fox, uses his body to protect the ball and draws the foul. So can the Perth Wildcats kick back into this game? They've shown a few signs in the last minute or so. They need to put a few points on the board now. Crawford, close. Looked like he was going to shoot, but decided against it. They go to JC and he slams it, a monster slam dunk.
Ellis, the way that should have worked. Close again. Radar range is operative. So 18 points the difference now. That's as far as the lead has been stretched. Now it's about to go to 20. Close can't do anything. And Rucker jams it just to emphasise the point.
Rucker's got a hot hand at the moment. He drives through the key and puts another 2-pointer.
Grace comes out to do the defensive job. Fox, quiet but effective tonight. Moore has been sensational, and is again with 2 more.
A determined, disciplined Bullets applied the pressure. For them, it was do or die.
And Ricky Gray slams a 3-pointer. That's his second for the game.
And away comes Watterson. David close, should just lay it in, and does. So the Wildcats back down to a single-figure deficit. Rucker drives well past Torrance and charges, and that is his 5th foul. Derek Rucker is out of this ball game. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Pinder.
The Wildcats were desperately trying to stay in touch.
And back comes Crawford with the rebound. Can't put the slam in and gets another opportunity. So the Wildcats extremely lucky. David Close puts up the 3-point bomb and makes good. So the deficit is now 6. The Wildcats need a couple more 3-point bombs. The Bullets simply need to play the clock down. They can take this game. Andre Moore.
So there it is. 106
The work, the desires of Game 1 had all been undone as the Bullets demoralised the Cats by 16 points.
You know, it's on the line now. I mean, there's no tomorrows. And as I said to the guys, I believe they worked too long and too hard to just give it away. And that's pretty much what we did tonight.
It all now rested on just 48 minutes of basketball. The dream of a championship. This would be a test of character. The ultimate challenge.
And Perth content to take their time. The shot selection is good, and from the top of the key, James Crawford opens the scoring.
It was time to ignore the pain and search their souls. They had come this far, they would not allow a repeat of Game 2.
That's what Trevor Torrance does best. And that's what the Wildcats do best, that run and stun.
Backcourt is producing much more effectively than in game 2. David Close is out there. Ricky Grace puts up a 3 and he makes it.
This time they would finish the Bullets.
Close. Grace decides he might as well shoot it, and he's not at the moment, so why not? So Loggins, can he lift the Bullets? They're down 25-16 with 2 minutes to go. Rucker, baseline.
Torrance, who's wearing Loggins like a glove today.
The Wildcats had the lead and the momentum.
Ricky Grace to Mike Ellis.
Ellis and Grace doing the job well. Grace to Crawford inside. Reese is on there, tried desperately to block it. Again, Rucker gets the rebound.
The Bullets fought on.
Rucker decides to go coast to coast and draws the foul. Blake Ellis. Oh, clever steal by Loggins. And it goes to Rucker for the lay-in.
Derek Rucker. No doubt about his leadership ability on court. 12 points so far. Mike Ellis got the hand in. Should be regulation.
Coach Cal Bruton used his bench extensively to try and exploit the lack of Brisbane depth.
The man free is Rucker. Gets it back out to Sibley, but Watterson with the steal this time. Crawford to his left. Watterson again. Up went the layup. Crawford almost had the tip in. Tiny Pinder is finally there. We are seeing far more mistakes today than we saw on Friday. The reason is pressure. Look at it again.
The Cats were unified and desperate to win.
Mike Ellis playing a key role.
The referee ruling that was a defensive play, so they don't reset the clock, so the Wildcats must shoot it, as Grace does, and she can't get a better result than that.
That came out of the bleachers with all the pressure in the world on that man. That is
at half-time, the Wildcats had advanced to an 11-point lead over the Bullets.
One thing the Bullets might need to do when they
in the second half, Grace, Close and Ellis settled in for some outside shooting. They were blowing the Bullets away.
Grace calls for the rotation. It's Torrance rotating forward. There he is. He'll go baseline. Dish back out to Grace. He thought about shooting. Eventually puts it up.
Of course, that'll open the door for David Close to let loose with some bombs. And here he goes with one now. He'll make this one.
He never misses, it seems.
The defense not up to the scratch it was on Friday, and they're down by 3 or 4 in the rebounds at the moment.
The Bullets still in the 2-3 zone, and that's the perfect retort. That's 2 3-pointers. When the zone was on, it's not working.
The Bullets just can't win a board at the moment.
Bounce pass finds Close. Regulation play up to 2.
Three-quarter time, and with a 20-point lead, the Wildcats are just 12 minutes away from their first NBL title. There was time for one final thrust.
That's what the Bullets needed. They needed a jam, they needed something to spark them, and it took Andre Moore.
They're sticking to the same pattern they have all game, not rushing. There's 5 seconds left. Pinder puts up the fadeaway jumper, and it's good. What a shot.
The Cats had the power, they had the ambition, and now they had the title.
Will simply carry them through. It's Close alongside him. Johnston simply needs to shoot. Goes close to the basket. Rejected from Crawford. Great effort by James Crawford once again. Mike Ellis comes out of the game. He knows that his team has got this one.
So the youngsters are on.
You have to feel. I was going to say, you have to feel for those guys to play in a grand final team, and James Crawford shooting at will now. The intercept comes from David Close. Eric Watterson, and he scored the last basket, gives it to Robbie Dempster, simply lets it go.
The pain, the controversy, the waiting, it was all behind them. They had achieved victory against all odds. Now it was time for celebration and a salute to the champions.
Way to go play! Way to go play, baby! Way to go play!
As far as I'm concerned, we deserve this championship. We worked damn hard for it.
Thank you, guys!
This is what we've been on for 4 years.
The support we've got all year has just been outstanding.